exchanging for 1,453 naira and 44 kobo. We have €1 exchanging for 1,674 naira and 30 kobo. We have £1 exchanging for 1,899 naira 69 kobo. We have $1 exchanging for 1,029 naira and 89 kobo. And lastly, we have £1 yuan exchanging for 204 naira and 34 kobo. And that's all we have for you this morning on exchange rate. And now moving on to financial news happening in Nigeria. We have trade drives Nigeria's 40 trillion naira GDP growth. The trade sector contributed 40.71 trillion naira to Nigeria's gross domestic product in the first 6 months of 2025, signaling its growing weight in the economy as non-oil export, gas sales, and refinery activity expanded across the period. Assessment by analysts and organized private sector groups who spoke with newsmen indicated that the trade sector's gain in H1 2025 are a result of the prevailing economic policies that have boosted trade between Nigeria and the rest of the world. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics revealed that trade added 14.59 trillion naira to GDP in the first quarter of 2025 and rose sharply to 26.12 trillion naira in second quarter of 2025, representing a 78.96% quarter-on-quarter increase. The sector's contribution also grew by 29.11% over the 31.53 trillion naira recorded in the first half of 2024. Trade data from the NBS also shows that Nigeria recorded total export of 43.35 trillion naira and total imports of 30.71 trillion naira in H1 2025, indicating a surplus of 12.64 trillion naira. Now moving on to the next story, we have FIRS denies granting monopoly to express payment for revenue collection. The Federal Inland Revenue Service dismissed allegations by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar claiming that the appointment of express payment as a payment channel for federal revenue collection was politically motivated. It insisted that the remark was misleading and risked distorting tax administration and public understanding of Nigeria's tax administration system. Atiku, in a statement, accused the federal government of handing a monopoly to express payment for tax collections. While responding on Sunday, the technical assistant and broadcast media to the FIRS chairman, Aderonke Atoyebi, said the former vice president's assertion were incorrect and capable of politicizing what she described as a purely administrative and technical issue. Setting out the agency's position, Atoyebi explained that the service currently uses multiple payment solution service providers, including QuickTeller, Remita, Extract, Flutterwave, and ExpressPay, as part of effort to simplify tax payment and expand access for taxpayers across the country. Now moving on to the international scene of business, we have FCA Consumer Chief Mills to leave City Watchdogs. One of the City Watchdogs' top executive is to step down after an eventful 8-year tenure in which he also applies to run Britain's competition regulator. It was learned that Sheldon Mills, the Financial Conduct Authority's FCA Executive Director, Consumer and Competition, is to leave in the coming month. Mr. Mills, who joined the FCA in 2018, is understood to have been asked to lead a review of the growing use of artificial intelligence in the delivery of financial advice to consumers after he steps down. His departure from one of UK's most powerful economic regulators is understood to have been communicated to FCA employees late last week. Mr. Mills, who has also chaired Stonewall, the LGBTQ+ charity, is said to have been on the leave of absence for much of the last 12 months. The FCA website says his executive duties are currently being covered by Sarah Pittard and David Gale, Managing Director, Payment System Regulators. And now lastly, for the Foreign saying we are struggling energy supplier OVO to axe hundreds of jobs. OVO Energy, one of Britain's biggest domestic gas and electricity supplier, is preparing to take an axe to its workforce next week as part of efforts to convince regulators that it has a viable turnaround plan. It was planned that OVO, which serves about 4 million customers across the UK, is drawing up proposals to cut hundreds of jobs as early as Wednesday in a bid to save millions of pounds in cost. The redundancies, the precise scale of which would not be ascertained this weekend, are set to form part of a revised business plan. And then the plan is likely to include restrictions on taking on new customers while OVO's finances are placed on a sustainable footing. According to industry sources, one insider suggested that several hundred jobs will be lost next week, although a spokeswoman for the company declined to quantify either the scale of the cuts or the size of OVO's existing workforce. And that's what we have for you this morning on Morning Matters.